We are now live, Sheikh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله أجمعين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. أما بعد, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome once again to another UCT Arabic class, and inshallah today we will start with lesson Ba on page 24. And before we start with lesson Ba on page 24, we'll do a recap of what we done last week. Last week we spoke about mamnu' min al-sarf. We spoke about mamnu' min al-sarfi. Mamnu' means forbidden, something that is forbidden. So forbidden min al-sarf, to change. So there are words that cannot be changed. It will stick to what it is, or it will be limited to what it can actually do. So when something is mamnu' min al-sarf, they are words that have no tanween. So it's forbidden for you to get a tanween, basically. So that's the reason why we call it mamnu' min al-sarf. It is forbidden for certain things. And one of those things is that it cannot take a tanween. So no two fathas, no two kasras, no two dhammas. It cannot take a tanween, meaning two of these things. And is restricted to only two types of endings. So the two types of case endings will be the dhamma, which you see there, and the fatha, which you see there. So a word cannot have tanween. They will only have either a dhamma on its ending or a fatha on its ending. This is mamnu' min al-sarf, which is forbidden. So the word here, write it nicely again. Forbidden. So something is mamnu' is forbidden. Min al-sarfi, to change. Min means from, and al-sarf means change. So it can't change from its state, meaning can't change from being only fatha and al-dhamma to a tanween, basically. That's what's meant here by mamnu' min al-sarf. It is indeclinable words. It cannot get a kasra and it cannot get a tanween. So no tanweens and no kasra. The only thing you can get is a fatha or dhamma on its case ending. And then we moved on to speak about the types of mamnu' min al-sarf. The types of mamnu' min al-sarf. Or we can say the forms of mamnu' min al-sarf. And we see that there are names. The first type of them, there are many, and we're only busy with the first type. Names that are feminine in meaning and or structure. So we said a name can be feminine in meaning, and a name can be feminine in structure, or it can be feminine in meaning and structure. And the examples that were given is Amina. So we have Amina 2. It only get one case ending, because remember, they are mamnu' min al-sarf, so only one case ending. So Amina 2 can either only be Amina 2 or Aminata. It can never be Aminati. So a female name basically will never get a kasrah. There are some exceptions, but we're not worried about the exceptions now. But normally, if it's a female, we will always give only one case ending, either a dhamma or a fatha. But for male names, it's different if it's male structure and male meaning. So we have here Muhammadun. So it's two case endings. But for Amina 2, it's only one case ending. So there's no tanween. And there's no kasra. You cannot put a kasra on them, and they will only receive a dhamma and a fatha. Names that only have a feminine name, it's only by meaning. Example is Zainabu. So we see that a word that is feminine by structure will have a ta marbuta at the end, like here by Amina 2. But if you do not have a ta marbuta, it means that it's not feminine by structure. And so if it's not feminine by structure, it can be feminine by meaning as well, because Zainab is a feminine name, and therefore it's feminine by meaning, and therefore it gets one case ending. And remember, you're only speaking about names. We're not speaking about words. It has to be a name of something, a name, for example, of a person. And then we moved on to show that if we have masculine names, but it's feminine by structure, like Hamza, too, we also give one case ending. Why? Because feminine, it's a name which is feminine by structure, but not by meaning, because Hamza is a masculine name. Talha, too, the same. It is feminine by structure, but not by meaning, because it is a masculine name. And that's where we ended off last week. And inshallah, this week we'll start with Ba. So in Ba it is al-baytu min al-bayti. We said before that al-baytu, it is marfu'. It's marfu'. Why is it marfu'? Because every default, the default word, the case of a word or state of a word, it is marfu', and a sign of marfu' is the dhamma. So words that is not operated on will be marfu', and therefore is nothing before it, and therefore it's marfu', and its sign will be a dhamma. Min al-bayti, we said al-bayti is majroor. Why is majroor? Majroorun, why? Because it's operating on it, and it is min. And the sign of it being majroor is the kasra. Min means from. So min is from the huruf al-jar, the particles of jar, which is the prepositions, and therefore we have min, which means from al-bayti, from the house. Al-masjidu, again marfu'. Why? Because it has a dhamma. And ila al-masjidi, it is majroor. Why? Because ila is operating on it, and the sign of it being majroor is the kasra. So we know that ila means to the mosque. Okay. Now we have a conversation between al-mudarrisu and Muhammadun. There's a conversation going on. And inshallah, today's lesson won't be that long, because I would like you to go into your breakout rooms and to have this conversation with a tutor or with anyone in the breakout room. Just to practice your Arabic, because we never done much practicing of actually speaking in Arabic with conversation, and this will be a nice conversation for us to practice, inshallah. Al-mudarrisu, min ayna anta? Min means from, ayna means where, anta, you, from where are you? So from where are you? Ana min al-Yaban, I am from al-Yaban means Japan. Okay. Al-mudarrisu, wa min ayna Ammarun? And from where is Ammar? Muhammadun. So Muhammad replies by saying, Huwa min as-Sin. He is from, as-Sin means China. Okay. Al-mudarrisu, now mudarris, the teacher is speaking, and said, Wa min ayna Hamidun? And from where is Hamid? Muhammadun replies by saying, Huwa min al-Hind. He is from, al-Hind means India. He's from India. Al-mudarrisu, wa ayna Abbasun? Not ayna, sorry, not what, wa ayna, it is only ayna. So where is, so again, where is Abbas? Muhammad replies by saying kharaja. Okay, now we're moving on to verbs. This is the first verb we've done so far. We never done a verb before this. So I said once we reach the verbs, we will be speaking about the verbs. So very quickly, we'll speak about the verbs, and we'll continue with the conversation thereafter. So kharaja is a verb. So let's do some verbs. So what is a verb? So verb in Arabic means, or is translated as fi'lun. We said that the Arabic language is broken up into ismun, harufun, and fi'lun. We spoke about the ismun and we speak about the harfun, and now you'll be doing the fi'lun. So a fi'lun, which is, as we know it as a verb, is a word that has a meaning in itself and indicate time. And the time will either be in the past, present, or the future. So let's do the example of dhahaba. So the verb dhahaba is coming on, and we will do dhahaba, and you will see the differences of the tenses. So we have dhahaba, which means he went. So this is the past tense. This is the past tense. Example of the past tense. And then we have yadhabu, which means either he goes or he is going. So this is a present tense verb. And then we have idhab. And this means go. So go is actually a future tense verb, and I'll speak about that now. Future tense. And the reason for this is if someone says go, you are telling the person to go. And then you give the person about a second or two or split second to go. He's not going in, immediately when you say go. It's like a few seconds. So it's like giving the person a chance, and therefore the action is happening in the future. It's not happening in the present. It's happening in the future. So therefore, it's a future tense. And the scholars speak about this future tense as a commanding verb. So it is a command. So when you command in the future. Okay. So it is a future tense, but you're doing it in the future by the person commanding you to do it. Okay. So very important to note that before we move on, let's just speak about the verb that we have here, inshallah. So kharaja means he left. So just put it down here quickly. Kharaja. Kharaja means he left. We're not going to worry about the present tense or the future tense or the command. We're only going to worry about the past tense. Now, kharaja, it's a third person singular verb. A third person singular verb, which is a male or male. Okay. So kharaja means he left. But there's something you have to note about this verb. Any third person singular verb, if the doer is mentioned, then you mention the doer. So this is what I mean by this concept. And everything will be made clear as we do the examples. If doer mentioned, mention doer. Then you mention doer. If doer not mentioned, then mention the pronoun, which in this instance will be he. Okay. So what does this all mean? We know there are three tenses when you're speaking about a verb. Just change the color. It is the past tense in dhahaba, the present tense in yadhabu, and the future or command tense in idhab. We're only busying ourselves with the past tense verb. When you come to future tense verbs, we will speak about that, inshallah. We said the past tense verb, when it is a third person singular, if the doer is mentioned, then we mention the doer. If the doer not mentioned, then we mention the pronoun which is he if it's masculine. Kharaja, there is no doer. So kharaja means he left. Because there's no doer mentioned, we are going to say that you're going to mention the pronoun which is he left. The next example, al-mudarrisu ayna dhahaba. Dhahaba means we done he went. And it's difficult to translate it by saying where he went. We can say where did he go as well. I mean, if we put it in the past tense, we can say where he went. So this will be where he went. Where did he go? Because we're not seeing a doer, we are mentioning the pronoun. There's no doer. Muhammadun replies by saying dhahaba ila al-mudiri. So dhahaba here means there's no doer as yet. Again, dhahaba means he went. Ila al-mudiri, to the headmaster. Okay, the headmaster can be the headmaster, like a principal, the person in charge. Al-mudarrisu, they're saying وَأَيْنَ ذَهَبَ عَلِيٌّ. So here we have وَأَيْنَ and where ذَهَبَ عَلِيٌّ. Now we have a doer. The doer is mentioned, عَلِيٌّ. And ذَهَبَ means he went. But and where he went, عَلِيٌّ. So we are saying the doer, and therefore we do not mention the he. And therefore it will mean وَأَيْنَ ذَهَبَ عَلِيٌّ, and where Ali went. So when look at the principle, if the doer not mentioned, then mention pronoun. If doer mentioned, mention the doer. And therefore, we have Aliyun is mentioned, and therefore we are not going to say he. We are going to say وَأَيْنَ ذَهَبَ عَلِيٌّ. When we did Ali go away, Ali went. But I think the better translation will be where did Ali go? So just remember that concept. Okay. Dhahaba, there's no, again, we're not having a doer there. So dhahaba will translate as he went. Ila al-mirhadi, to the toilet. To the toilet. So just remember that concept. If there's a doer, we mention the doer. If there's no doer, we mention the pronoun. Just note that for now, inshallah. Okay. One thing to note, the doer will be marfu'. The doer is always marfu', and the sign of it being marfu' will be the dhamma. So whenever you see after a verb, a word that has a basically is marfu' and has a dhamma, then we take that as the doer. And of course it's Ali, so Ali will be the doer. We'll do more of that as we do the verbs, but this is just an introduction to the verbs. So we have the translation of the whole conversation, and now I'll ask Brother Abdullahi. Brother Abdullahi, are you there?
Yes, Sheikh.
So inshallah, in this instance, I will be the mudarris, and Brother Abdullahi, you'll be Muhammadun. So I'll be the al-mudarrisu, and you will be Muhammadun. And so I will recite the first sentence and you will recite the second sentence, and we will be having conversation, inshallah, just to show them at home how to practice this. And when they go into the breakup rooms shortly now, inshallah, they will do the same. And they will take turns. Each one will have a turn to be the mudarris, and each one will have a turn to be Muhammadun, just to practice to speak in Arabic and to have that conversation going, inshallah. So Brother Abdullahi, I will start, and you will then go on to Muhammad. I'm done with al-mudarrisu. So I'm not going to mention al-mudarrisu. We're going to have the conversation, and we'll see how it flows, inshallah. So I will start, inshallah. Bismillah. Min ayna anta?
أنا من اليابان.
ومن أين عمار؟
هو من الصين.
ومن أين حامد؟
هو من الهند.
أين عباس؟
خرج.
أين ذهب؟
ذهب إلى المدير.
وأين ذهب علي؟
ذهب إلى المرحاض.
MashaAllah. So now we'll swap around, so just that those at home can get some practice and then can be able to listen to the words and how to pronounce the words. So, Brother Abdullah, you can start, and then I will then reply to you after that, inshallah. So, Brother Abdullah.
Yes. من أين أنت؟
أنا من اليابان.
ومن أين عمار؟
ومن الصين.
ومن أين حامد؟
هو من الهند.
أين عباس؟
خرج.
أين ذهب؟
ذهب إلى المدير.
وأين ذهب علي؟
ذهب إلى المرحاض. MashaAllah, Jazakallah. So that will inshallah be the lesson for today. I don't want to go too long on this because I want to give you time to practice, to have this conversation in your breakup rooms. So it gives you a good time, inshallah, to have this conversation and have it more than once. If you have more time in the breakup rooms, have it more than once, just to have it flow on your lips so that you can feel how to speak in Arabic, and even using a verb while you are speaking. So this is good practice, inshallah. So Brother Abdullah, will end off there. I'll hand it off to you inshallah. Wa akhir da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran, Sheikh, for this wonderful class. I'll now open up the breakout rooms, and you are encouraged to join the breakout rooms with a tutor so that you can have the conversation, inshallah. Shukran. I've now opened all the breakout rooms, so and please let me know if any one of you cannot join a breakout room.